friends, I'm Pastor Carrie. Welcome to our home. I'm glad you're able to join us again for these few moments where we focus on our Advent journey. And this week we are celebrating Advent joy with expectation, with anticipation of Christmas. We celebrate Advent joy. I have a passage to share with you from the book of Philippians, the 4th chapter, and this is verse 4. Rejoice in the Lord always. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. I love it when Scripture does that. I love it when Scripture says something very definitively, declaratively, and then says it again. My brain works that way. I usually need to hear something said a couple of times, and we know, of course, that when Scripture does that, we're supposed to pay attention to all of Scripture, but that something really important is coming up when it gets repeated in the same sentence, so in the same passage. So rejoice, out of question, rejoice. And again, I say rejoice. I have a quote I want to share that I think, I'm wondering if Wesley was meditating on this passage when he wrote this. John Wesley said, "I cannot think that when God sent us into the world, he had irreversibly decreed that we should be perpetually miserable. If our taking up the cross implies bidding adieu, which is French for goodbye, if taking up the cross implies bidding adieu to all joy and satisfaction, how is that reconcilable with what Solomon expressly affirms of religion, that her ways are ways of pleasantness and all her paths peace?" Wesley must have been dealing with some folks who he was discipling, who thought that meant taking up their cross and following Jesus meant that they should be perpetually miserable. Are we perpetually miserable? Wow, that's a tough question. It's been a rough year, 2020. If there was ever a year for us to be tempted in being perpetually miserable, I think 2020 might be one of those years. But again, Scripture says, rejoice, rejoice. We need to choose joy. We need to embrace joy. I was thinking about this and I came across a quote from St. Augustine, who basically says, look, folks, God created us with the ability to be happy. God can make us happy. God can fulfill the way that God made us, which is for a capacity to be happy. But we need to choose it. We need to cooperate with all that God has planned for us. God has joy planned for us. Again, I will say, God has joy planned for us. Even during tough times. That doesn't mean choosing to cooperate with God and poof, all our troubles go away. Our troubles are real, aren't they? We hurt, we have pain, we're sad, we're depressed, we're hurting, we're addicted, we're sick, we struggle. That is all real too. And in the midst of that, God's great love for us enables us to reach out and embrace joy. Choose it, embrace it, hold it close, and trust that as we keep it close, we are engaging in a process of being able to rejoice, to be happy, to be at peace. So as we think about Jesus coming as a baby, as one of our children reminded us this past week in the sermon, that Jesus started out as a baby. Jesus started out as a baby, which has all sorts of implications theologically for us, but one of them is that growth is possible, change is possible. A baby means hope. And so in these last few days, as we sit and we prepare and we expect Emmanuel, God with us, let's think about things, let's talk to God about things that we might need to let go of so that we can choose and embrace joy. Let's talk to doctors and therapists. Let's talk to family and friends. Let's talk to each other. And at the center of all of that, Let's talk to God and remind ourselves of the truth, remind each other of the truth that we were created for joy. Joy is possible, and let's hope in that. All right, friends, you are loved. Take care. We'll see you on Christmas Eve at our live stream at www.christumcoleon.org. Don't forget, we'll be celebrating a love feast, so bring your hot cocoa and your cookies and your Christ candle, and we will be together virtually on Christmas Eve. All right, peace. Take care.